Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Find Out What's in Pelenta's Forest. So grab yourself a glass of water or a cup of tea and spend the next few minutes with me. Let's see. And don't believe everything you hear and check your facts. Do your own research. What that means is, if I say something that sounds like it's a lie, it probably is. Don't you want to know what my butterflies are saying? I think you do. Don't you want to know what my butterflies are talking? This is Find Out What's in My Forest. Well, I'll tell you. I will tell you. I got news to share with you, and it's more news about the devil. Well, in this crazy world that we're living in, everybody wants to be recognized. They want to be respected for whatever they believe in. And if they feel like they're not being respected for it, then what do? They write Congress. They write the Supreme Court. They get an attorney, and they demand that their rights be observed. That's why there's so many crazy people running around the world, because instead of you having just a typical service dog, you want to get real crazy and bizarre and have a service snake or a service kangaroo or a service elephant. And then you want to throw a great big temper tantrum when you can't get the damn thing on the airplane, you know? So some of our causes are pretty extreme, and some of them are just to get up under your skirt and your pants and ruffle your feathers, okay? No pun intended. So last episode, we talked about the Baphomet and all of its symbols and signs, and everybody's going berserk because of that. Well, I found another interesting article, and it wasn't The Devil Made Me Do It with Arnie Johnson. And that is a true court case where this man was plagued by demons, and he claimed that he wasn't responsible for the murder because he was being possessed by demons at the time. Now, mind you, it was quite believable, but he didn't get away with murder. Well, actually, he did, because he only served 5 years. But either way, you know, the man was still punished, and his Devil Made Me Do It case was fizzled. You can look that up, too. It's a true story. But, so getting back to Satanist and worshiping Lucifer and Beelzebub, whatever you cute little names you choose to call him, I found a very interesting article, because I know several years ago I met somebody who actually had surgery on their tongue, and it cost them $10,000 to have their tongue split down the middle like a snake. And the weird thing is, both sides of your tongue have a mind of their own. It's like, you don't want the right hand to know what the left hand is doing? Well, I'm telling you, I saw it. It's like a serpent tongue, and the right side does its thing, and the left side does its thing, you know. But in the military, they weren't allowing that. They would not let you join with your serpent tongue. You had to go back and have them stitch that sucker back up. Well, let me show you this. The devil and the deep blue sea. The Navy gives blessing to sailor Satanists. Okay? Now, check this out. And I just found this. And this article is like, gee whiz, over 10 years old? At least that's what it says here. Now listen at this. A Royal Navy technician who is a Satanist has been given permission to practice his beliefs at sea. The Ministry of Defense confirmed this. Now, Chris Kramer, He's 24, at least in 2004 he was 24. Do the math, and he's probably like 30-something now. But either way, Chris Kramer was 24 years old from Edinburgh, and he has been a practicing Satanist for 9 years, okay? He joined the Navy 4 years ago and was promoted, excuse me, promoted to leading hand. And that's the equivalent, excuse me, sorry you guys, that's the equivalent of an Army corporal, all right? Now, the decision by his superiors means that if he is killed in action aboard the frigate HMS Cumberland, he will be allowed to have a funeral carried out by the Church of Satan. Is there a Church of Satan in California somewhere? I'm sure there is, because California is full of crazy people. But the church was founded in the 1960s, and its members reject Christian views of God and the devil. Instead, they follow the satanic rules stating Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence. Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. And Satan represents all of the so-called sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification. Now, you know, I don't know about that, because, I mean, they're telling the truth. You know, because, you know, you have the little angel on your shoulder, and then you have the devil. The devil is saying, don't eat that cake. Just don't do it. Don't do it. You know, well, actually, the devil is saying, eat that cake. Eat the cake. And the angel is saying, no, don't do it. You'll regret it. You're going to gain 10 pounds by the weekend. So, you know, it's like God is telling you to be good, and Satan's telling you to be bad. You know, and another spokesman said that it was an equal opportunity, and, you know, they don't discriminate against people's specific religious beliefs. So being a Satanist is a religious belief. And considering the Navy is an equal opportunity employer, they cannot discriminate against your satanic beliefs. So this gentleman went to his commanding officer with a request to practice his beliefs on board his ship, and it was granted. So not only have they accepted him into the Navy knowing that he worships the devil, they're going to allow him to perform satanic rituals on the ship. You know, and this is crazy. It says, we believe that he is the first Satanist to serve in the military. But there is no official register of his beliefs. Now, Satanism has been branded a cult by some religious groups, while Ann Widdecombe, she's a former Tory minister, she just flat out said it. Satanism is wrong. Now, obviously, the private beliefs of individuals anywhere, including the armed forces, are their own affair. But I hope this does not spread. Well, I have news for you, Ann. It has spread. And I'll tell you another thing. The census, when people, you know, fill out the census, you know, they ask you all these questions like, what's your religion, how old are you, and blah, 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 blah. Well, according to the census, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are in the closet about worshiping Satan, because they don't want to be ostracized, for one thing, but there's a lot of people in the closet worshiping the devil. Now, Mr. Kramer is reportedly lobbying the Ministry of Defense to make Satanism a registered religion in the armed forces. So, what do you think about that? You know, in an interview with the Sunday Telegraph, Mr. Kramer said he realized that he was a Satanist 9 years ago when he stumbled across the Satanic Bible written by Antonio Zandor LaVey. And he's the founder of the church who died in 1997. So I wonder, when people die and you're in the room with them, I don't know if you've ever had this experience like with the dying loved one or whatnot, but when they die, right as they're passing, if they are coherent enough that, they can still speak, lots of times they'll say, "Oh, it's so beautiful. I can't believe it. Look at that light," and this kind of stuff. So I wonder, when somebody whose God is the devil, when they die, I wonder what they see and what they experience, So anyway, this gentleman, Chris Kramer, he says that he discovered Satanists, he stumbled across it 9 years ago. And he said he was curious and he read more and more. And after he got through reading, he came to realize that he had always been a Satanist and just never knew it. Now, see, I would say something smart like, well, what he actually realized was he is a sinner and always knew it. That's what I would say. But a Navy spokesperson says that we are an equal opportunities employer and we don't stop anybody from having their own religious values. And he also added that it's our policy that wherever practical, reasonable request for time and facilities that do not impact an operational effectiveness or the welfare of the other person are met. So, him doing his séances and his cult stuff on board is practical and reasonable. Okay. Well, Doug Harris is the director of Reach Out Trust, and that is an evangelical Christian ministry that builds a bridge of reason. And he says, to those involved in cults and the occult, he agreed in principle that there must be opportunity for freedom of belief. And that's what I said in the last episode talking about the Baphomet. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech, whether it's hate speech or not. Do you agree with that? Do you think that hate speech is freedom of speech? Because it seems like, practicing just to be a decent human being means being a kind person, not spewing lots of hate and all this other kind of stuff. But he also added that we must look to see the quality of life we are advocating and the potential and results of such beliefs, And he also said of all these satanic statements that people are, spewing out. Oh, and you know what? I read somewhere that statue cost $120,000 to make. So, and I'm getting off track here, but that makes me wonder, okay, so in my reading, I didn't see who was responsible for that 9-foot tall statue. Did you hear me say it? I didn't hear myself say it, and if I did say it, I don't remember. But it's just like, who's responsible for that statue? And when he was reading all about this Satanist stuff, he was seeing all of his characteristics as he read and realized he had always been a Satanist. So what did he read in that book? It kind of makes you curious, like, you want to go and read and say, what's this guy talking about? But that's also a way to get sucked in, like curiosity kills the cat. But anyway, he says that following such tenets and working them out practically in your life seems to produce a selfish person, not a member of a team. And at the same time, they appear to have little regard for others and certainly would not want to see people forgiven for things they have done wrong, And, I don't know. Well, since I'm on camera, certain things I can't say because it'll come back to bite me. So I have to be very careful here. With that 9-foot statue, and them talking about, it's my right, my right, my right. I believe that there is an almighty supreme power that is going to get you when you start acting up and doing crazy things that you're not supposed to be doing. And I am not implying by any means at all that what this gentleman here is doing is wrong. He is a Satanist, and he is exercising his right to freedom of speech, and the Navy is supporting him 100%. It just sounds odd to me. I don't think that enough research into this practice has been done, but what do I know? I mean, I've never seen a statue like that, in my life. And if I actually saw something like that in the dark, I'd probably scream, seeing some big goat head man with breasts and hooved feet and everything. I mean, it doesn't look extremely appetizing, and how children, I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, it says here that we have a small favor to ask. More people are reading The Guardian than ever, but advertising revenues across the media are falling fast. And unlike many new organizations, we haven't put up a paywall. We want to keep our journalism as open as we can, so you can see why we need to ask for your help. Read your Bible daily, stay away from Satan, and and say your prayers. So what do you guys think about that? Because it seems like a lot of people that have been down on their luck get frustrated, and I'm not trying to preach to you, but it seems like when people get really frustrated and things in their life just aren't going right, that is the perfect time for you to be taken advantage of and have your mind redirected to someplace else that's much worse than you already are and is very negative. And a lot of times you get into this stuff, you don't get out of it. You just can't. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to look that up, The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, the Navy gives blessing to sailor Satanist, and he is allowed to perform his satanic rituals and everything on board the ship. So, I gotta say something funny, because I've never done any type of satanic ritual. I don't even know anything about it. But this is my question. When he's on the ship and getting ready to do his ritual, they said here, that it's not impractical and it's not imposing against anybody and this and that. So if he needs like chicken blood or anything else odd, then they'll just bring it to him to perform his ritual. Well, okay, I think that's kind of strange, but I'm not judging. But I'll tell you something gross before I close today, and you can look this up. 26 pairs of severed hands have been floating along the river. So you can look that up. It's the truth. I just assume that it's some kind of a mob hit or something, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I don't know. But anyway, you guys, I am so very grateful for everything, and I am more grateful for you. So go out into the world, whatever your religion is, if you worship frogs, rocks, the devil, God, you know what? Just go out into the world and just be a decent dang person. Be nice to your fellow human. Smile. Give somebody a compliment. Make somebody's day. You can find my book everywhere books are sold. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day. And I will see you next time on Find Out What's in Pelenta's Forest.